Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking of power stage performance and versus, let's say, weight reduction on the GR Yaris. So although I come from motorsport, I love motorsport and everything, there is a reason why I called my channel ajclubsport, and this is because I'm talking mainly to people like me that nowadays are buying sporty cars. They're buying a Yaris, a Corolla, and they're using them mainly on the street. Maybe then they go to do some rally recce, they go to do some track days, but it's, let's say, a street registered car at the moment. So hence Clubsport. So I always have been fan of weight reduction. I mean, I take away weight, I just shoot down, and not only the straights, but I do all my bends, I do my braking. I mean, everything is better in the car. Everybody would like a light car to an extent, because when the car is too light, then also you have to really cope with it in as much as it becomes very fidgety. That's a new word. Look at that, for example, in a Caterham 7. There is always drawing lines on the ground. When it's very light, the car is not so easy. It plays around a lot to use, and you always have to be very, very careful on the tire pressures. But let's cut the drill. Modern cars, and our cars in specific, are not like the 2000s, the 90s or 2010 car, because they're very, very optimized. And the bulk of the weight comes from the chassis itself, because they're so much stronger, so much well studied, and have hybrid kinds of metals in them, apart from aluminium or composites, that they do usually weigh a bit more as a body shell, but all the interior and exterior trim, all the electricals, all the cable and harnesses, they all weigh much less in proportion to what they used to weigh on a normal car. I had a beautiful EVO, an EVO 8, that I transformed. It was a Clubsport car, and seam welded chassis by myself, 600 horsepower engine, and stripped as much as possible, but retaining the 5 seats and everything for a real Clubsport car. And I took away, a lot of weight. It was about 70 kilos between all the mods, and it made a difference. But here, I'm telling you, there is very little you can take away. What can you do? So, what can you do, and how will this compare to power stages? Because I know you love to understand what is real. And here we're looking at horsepower kilograms ratio, brake horsepower as you wish. So, first and only mod you can do for weight that is easy, is quite cost effective, is installing a Dead Weight Industries battery or any others. I bought this one, and I paid money for it because it was the best compromise in price. It costs almost half of another couple of brands I've been seeing around, and I bought it. So what is the result? Minus 16 kilograms, because the stock unit, and I got the chart in front of me, is something like 19.2 or 19.7. I weighed it. I did a lot of work on this car. And this other one takes us down of 16 kilograms. Second thing you can do, in a GR Yaris, I can't say it's a convenient car to go in 4 people or 3. So I've got a kid, and I am now put back my rear seats. But a rear seat delete makes a lot of sense, because in this way you're going to take away about 30 kilos from the car, including the seat belts, the mountings and everything. And what else can you do? Well, you have a tire repair kit, a breakdown kit. This is about 4 kilograms, so you can take it with you and take it out of the car when you go to a track. But also you can place it behind the front passenger's seat on the ground instead of in the trunk, because it's moving the center of gravity to the center and down low. And that's 4 kilos. It's not much, but it's not even that little. And well, another thing that you can consider doing, and you will at a certain point by all means, is for example a clutch kit. We have talked a lot about the clutch and the gearbox in these cars, and if you want to do a good job, when you change your clutch and clutch plate, you also change the single mass flywheel. And with this, I would say, all my numbers are conservative, okay? But you will shed away minimum 5 or 6 kilos with this kit, minimum. And this also is rotational mass. And these are all kits and interventions that you will have to do more or less at a certain stage, and they all have a low price tag, a relatively low price tag. So wheels, yeah, you can change your alloys, but you will be hard pressed to find other alloys, even if the same width and diameter, that will have even just the same weight. I managed with a kit from OZ, but it's very difficult because the stock wheels are very good. Unfortunately, the ET is high, so you would want 10-15 points lower, but this is what it is. Wheel nuts, once more, you can get them titanium. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and you're going to save, in the best occasion, 0.8 to 1 kilo. So it's not the point. Following this advice, we are taking away, once again, single mass flywheel clutch, rear seat delete, battery, taking away the tire and breakdown kit, and possibly the front discs, where you can get in average 2 kilos each disc, so that's 4 to 6 kilos depending on the kit. You get to minus 57 kilos. So how does this translate? Let's say that in running order, a stock GR Yaris is actually in Europe 1387 kilos. Without this, it comes to 1330 kilos. This is a 4% weight reduction. Not a lot, but not bad, considering that you have no trade-off. I mean, you live the car as if it were stock, obviously. If you have not taken away the rear seats, you obviously will have 30 kilos more, so that will mean half the weight reduction. In this case, that will be 2%. And the prince of it all is the battery here, because it really gives a huge reduction for very little, and very good reliability, by the way. So our power to weight ratio goes, stock engine, stock ECU, at from 5.31 kilos for each horsepower to 5.10. And this is again translated, and it's a 4% increment. So, AJ, what is the sweet spot? Let's say that we have 5 possible tuning options. We have stock, we have stage 1, we have stage 2, we have, and here it gets tricky, stage, as I call it, 3 with cams, okay? Stage 3 with hybrid turbo, so your stock turbo hybridized, modified, and we have the stage 3 with full frame. Full frame turbo means you're buying a turbo kit from my friends at CTEC or what have you, and they have 450 and 550 capable turbo kits. That doesn't mean you're going to achieve this power. So let's say that the first sweet spot, as usual on these cars, is stage 1. So let's say that I have a stage 1 car that is a lucky car, so I took off the OPF and a panel filter. I put a better panel filter in there. Maybe I closed off the flappy flap in the OEM intake, and I'm getting 300 horsepower. This is optimistic, okay, but let's say we're getting this. So without the rate reduction, this would be 4.62. With the rate reduction, it will be 4.43. Okay. So we're already talking of 4.4 kilograms to each horsepower, and this starts to be a good option. I'll give you some benchmarks in a moment. Now let's go to stage 2. So I'm installing a full exhaust no change in weight or you will gain weight. Intake, no change in weight or you will gain weight. Intercooler, you will gain weight. Oil cooler, you will gain weight. And I'm going to 320 horsepower, okay, playing it safe, everyday usable on 100 octane, and I'm getting 4.433 and 4.16 on weight reduction, Clubsport, as we said. So this is not bad. But if you see on a stage 1 car with the weight reduction, we were at 4.43. So between this car and the stage 2 at 4.33, there is not that much. Not that much at all. Once again, let's install cams, let's install cam springs and head studs to avoid the head lifting on this car. And let's get a great map. There is either Cyvex or Ecotech multi-map coming out now. And we get 360 horsepower on the stock turbo. So I'm going to put all the references down down below in the links. And 360 gives us 3.85 horsepower, kilograms for each horsepower, sorry for that, and 3.69 if we have a weight reduction. It's a constant, it's always 4%. If we go hybrid, so we have our original turbo with the stock manifold in one only part, modified, and there are many companies doing this out there now, and we go to 390 horsepower, we're going to have a forged engine. If you don't forge your engine, you're in for trouble. Sooner or later, probably sooner than later, even with a good map, you're in for trouble, because the piston rings won't hold and the con rods won't hold. That's just the way it is. So from here, we're starting to talk a very, very big investment on one side and a mild leap in performance, because we're going from 385 the stage 3 with cams to 3.56 or 3.41 with the weight reduction. So we're around 3.5, 3.4. Stage 3 full frame turbo. I mentioned before, there are not many of these turbo kits out there, and I saw a preview of what's coming up from CTEC UK, and this is a very, very cool turbo. I cannot share the images yet, but it's got some headers that are long run, going up and down and still fit the tight packaging of the GR. And it's the same as they're doing on the DTM cars that I have seen privately, and really cool. So here you can expect only adding the turbo kit instead of investing in the hybrid turbo to hit, let's say, 430 to 440 horsepower real life. Or you can hit a bit less, but having the headroom and having a very, very stable running engine. So here we are in the territory of the 3.15 and 3.20, and with the weight reduction we are 3.0, 3 kilograms for each horsepower. So now the car is moving. Let me give you some reference now. Let's talk something everybody loves and knows about, is Ferrari. Ferrari 458, beautiful V8 engine, the last of the natural aspirated V8s from Ferrari. This car was a powerhouse. I loved it, I drove it also in Monza on the track, full blow, great car. So this car had 2.9 kilograms per horsepower. So you see, this is the domain you're looking to. Not too bad at all. Now, let's come to something newer. Ferrari 488, the Evolution with the twin turbo, always V8 engine. This car has got 2.5 kilograms for each horsepower. The 488 Pista, that is the even more powerful track-focused version, has got 2.2 kilograms per horsepower. And let me tell you, these cars are unmanageable on the road. You really have to make a lot of attention, because in a GR already, if you've got a setup GR, you have to pay a lot of attention. But these cars are just incredible. So, in my modest opinion, which are the sweet spots? For me, even if the numbers don't translate so much, I would say that the stage 1 with the weight reduction at 4.4 is a very sweet spot. And you've spent very, very little money. Then we want to do more. We always want, maybe you're keeping the car for years, maybe it's just not important, it's about the money. Okay, you want to go big, so play it big. Do together the cams, the springs, forge your engine and get yourself a turbo kit. Because everybody knows that hybrid turbos work well, but they're not so reliable. And full frame is the way to go. So in my opinion, I would go, I am now, I edged my way into, let's say, a stage 2 plus, and what that can be. And if I will be doing more, I will go full frame, and I will report back to you about this. And the car will obviously be ballistic. I mean, you're going to eat the gears, because the point is, if I were to go back, I could be happy on a stage 1 with the weight reduction, and probably I would buy the Cusco 4.5 short final ratios, and this could be a good option. Otherwise, just go stage 3 full frame turbo. Now the options are out there. You don't have to ship them in from the other side of the world, and it could be an option. So this was what you guys asked me for. I hope it helped, and please let me know in the comments. Let's discuss about it, and if you haven't, subscribe. Cheers now.